Good morning. So today we're going to follow what we've been doing. So yesterday I asked you to look at pictures, draw observations, and create questions. And some of you did a really amazing job. Now for the next step, so yesterday we stayed at research. That was step 3. Step 4 in the scientific method is to construct a hypothesis. Okay, so step 4, construct a hypothesis. And first of all, basically a hypothesis is an educated guess about how things work. Okay, it's going to be an attempt to answer your question with an explanation that can be tested. So there is a format that a lot of people use when constructing a hypothesis, right? It's going to basically tell you what you're going to do and how it's going to affect whatever you're doing, right? So that one would be if, and this is I do this, then this will happen. Okay, this is the most simple way of constructing a hypothesis following this template. If I do this, then this is going to happen, right? It's a cause and effect kind of, thing or statement. Now, to follow along with the frog observations that we had done yesterday, or that I told you about, I had talked about how in a pond I see different frogs with different amount of limbs. Some had some eyes, some didn't have eyes. So my question that I'm going to be using for the rest of this example is going to be, is the pollution in the water causing the frogs to grow limbs? Okay, is the pollution in the water causing the frogs to grow limbs? So if that's my question, what would I have to do in order to get my answer? Well, My question is the pollution in the pond causing the frogs to grow or be born with more limbs / eyes? Okay, that's my question. Now, if that's my question, I have to create a hypothesis. So remember, you're going to do your if I do this, then blank is going to happen. So one thing I would like to do is test waters, right? I'd like to test the water in the lake to then figure out, if the frogs, if that's what impacting the frogs, right? So if I test the water in the lake for pollution, then I will, if I test the water in the pond for pollution, then what would happen, right? Now, it's not all the time that you will use the if-then format, but for example, if I do use this format, it would be if I test the water for pollution, then if I test the water for pollution, and there is a high amount, then there will be more deformed frogs. Okay, so here what I want to do is I want to test the water for pollution and look at that amount and then compare it to the amount of deformed frogs. Now there's another way you can do this, especially because your hypothesis needs to be written in a way that can be tested using experiments to collect evidence. So I'm going to leave it right there. Every hypothesis needs to be written in a way that it can do the following 4 things. 1, be tested using experiments to collect evidence. Two, it must be able to be proven wrong. Three, provide measurable results. And four, provide yes or no answers. Of course, whenever we're writing the conclusion, we're not just going to do a yes or no conclusion, right? We have to elaborate. So a really, really good example of this would be the following hypothesis. And it does cover all four. Let me move it up. So it needs to cover all of these four. So an example of a hypothesis I would use would be the number of deformed frogs in 5 ponds that are polluted with chemical X is higher than the number of deformed frogs in 5 ponds without chemical X. Now, this hypothesis can be tested doing experiments by collecting data. Basically, I would have to go to the ponds and collect water samples to see if they have, a specific chemical. Also, I would have to count frogs from that pond. This hypothesis can be proven wrong because what I'm saying is the 5 ponds that are polluted have a higher number of deformed frogs than the pond without that chemical. But it doesn't, it can be wrong, right? There may be more deformed frogs in a pond without chemical X. It does provide measurable results, so I would have the counting, the numbers, the amounts, and it's a yes or no answer. It's either yes, deformed frogs in 5 ponds that are polluted, or no. Now, for today's assignment, I found a lot of the questions really, really interesting. Now I'm going to turn the page so that I can explain your assignment. Okay, so a lot of you gave me really, really good, amazing observations and gave me really good questions. And I decided to choose a question that came up a lot while I was reading while I was reading your responses. So this is the question we're going to go with. Well, there was actually 2 questions that I really liked, and we can tie them together. So the first question, and I'm going to put here, banana banana lab. That's how we're going to call it, banana lab. The first question I really liked was, why do bananas turn brown? Okay. The second question I really liked was, what is the best way to keep bananas from turning brown? Okay, and one of them is tied to the other, so we're going to focus the most on what is the best way to keep bananas from turning brown. So this is going to be our question, our leading question. But in order to know, what is the best way to keep bananas from browning, we have to know why the bananas turn brown. So we're going to technically, discuss both of them. Well, your assignment, if you remember from part 1, you have to do research. Okay? So this is going to be your assignment. You are going to get these 2 questions, and you are going to find 2 articles, 2 posts that talk about why bananas turn brown and different methods of keeping bananas from turning brown. So your paper would look something like this. Research. You're going to find 1, 2 articles that are going to let you know why bananas turn brown. So 2 I'm going to put it right here. 2 articles on why bananas turn brown. And what you're going to do, you're going to summarize them into 3 sentences. Okay? Summarize into 3 sentences each. Okay? And that is for the why bananas turn brown. And then you're going to look for another 2, okay, that are going to help you find ways to keep bananas from turning brown. So you're going to look for 2 articles / ways to prevent bananas from browning. Again, you're going to summarize into 3 sentences. Now, if that article talks about 3 different ways, then there you have your 3 sentences. If that article only talks about 1 way, then you're going to have to describe more on that 1 way. Now, you can go above doing these 4 article research, right? But I'm asking from a minimum of 2 articles on why bananas turn brown and 2 articles to prevent bananas from browning. And I want them summarized into 3 sentences each article, okay? Each article. I'm going to put it into the point or into the format of, basically I'm just going to put research, that's going to be the assignment, and then scientific method. And then I'm going to put, the first one's going to say why bananas turn brown, number 1, and why bananas turn brown, number 2. And then it's going to be preventing bananas from browning 1, preventing bananas from browning 2. Okay, and all of this is going to be typed, and I'm going to give you that assignment. And that's it for today, guys. Tomorrow it's going to be a review, quote unquote. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a really, really short video, and I'm going to reference some of the articles or something that I might have found on why bananas are browning. And we are going to create a hypothesis for our lab. That is it for today, guys. I will see you tomorrow.